All right, another day in the shop. I'm going to take a new approach on this curved piece that I want to get through here. So here's the plan. I'm going to take a bunch of these guys, clean them all, get a smooth surface, then I can glue them together. I'll cut this into about a 6-inch strip, and so it'll be a long, or fundamentally two long pieces of 6 inches, 3.5 inches thick, and then with a 3.5 inch thick piece, if I lay that 3.5 inch piece here, I can mark the contour of that, and I'll use the bandsaw and just cut out a strip that's pretty thick that will conform to that curve perfectly. And it'll be thick enough then that I can use my beading bits for the router and cut beads into that curved surface. So that's the approach I'm going to try today. It starts with doing a whole bunch of planing to get some smooth surfaces here. So that's what I'm going to start with. All right, we now have a whole bunch of pieces suitable for gluing. Okay, so here's all our pieces laid out, ready to be glued together. But before I do that, I'm going to cut them right in half. Then I'll have this chunk over here. We'll glue all of that together. Subsequently, when I cut that in half, I will have the two pieces that I need for the front. Another reason for cutting it in half is that each of these pieces have some nail holes through it. So when I cut them in half, I'm actually going to cut out the nail holes, so we have some clean wood through the whole thing. So I'll set up a table saw to make those cuts, and then we'll be ready to glue the whole business. Okay, we got everything cut, ready to glue those bits together. All right, ready for glue up. Kind of working this out in stages. I got some pipe clamps here, some more bar clamps over here ready to go. So I'll just put some glue on these pieces, stack them up, get them in place, then glue up the next pieces until I get to the end. So kind of a multi-stage glue up here. And I have some fresh glue in my glue bottle, as you saw. I have to reload. All right, there's a piece glued up. We're gonna let that set. When it's dry, I'll cut it right down the middle. And then I have two pieces that I can work with to make our curved front. So I'll be back when we're on to our next step. Okay, I made a couple little adjustments. First off, I've added 3/4 of an inch onto the back of the tabletop here to give us that little offset that we need from the baseboard. And I'm looking for a little bit of treatment that I'm going to apply to the edge here and to the edge of the lower piece. And that treatment being just a little piece of material that'll bend around and just kind of cover up the face of the leg. Just kind of give a little bit of an inset look to it. Now, this piece of material that I've got here, 1/8 of an inch, does have some considerable flex to it, but not quite enough that I'm comfortable it will easily crack. So I'm kind of going back to some experimenting and work I did many years ago as a luthier on some bending techniques. So I've got a little pipe set up here. It's currently heating and just connected with a little propane torch. So the torch is going through here. Now this portion of the nozzle is cool, so don't fret, it's not going to burn this wood. And it's just sending a small flame, I have this on very low, sending a small flame through that pipe. The concept being here is I'm going to wet this rag and subsequently wet the wood, and that will just provide enough steam to release the fibers of the wood so that it will bend a little bit. So I'm going to set the camera up so you can watch this process. So the first thing that I'm doing is providing a lot of water on the wood, just kind of getting it quite wet. And I just set it on top of this a hot pipe. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's actually steaming a little bit, sizzling a bit, which is what I want. I don't want the wood to burn though. But as the heat is applied, you put a little bit of pressure on it, you can almost feel the wood relaxing. It's the most fascinating experience to me, just to feel the wood kind of go, and you can see right away, I've got quite a bend in it. So I'm just going to kind of go through this, make a little bend all the way along. That way, when I have this bend, apply this to the tabletop. There's no strain on it. I'm just going about this fast. Seems to be about the speed that the wood needs to relax. So with just that little bit of little bending, this fits on here really nice without any effort. In fact, I overbent a little bit here. I'm going to bend that back just a touch. So here you can see the piece, with just a little bit of pressure, it just conforms perfectly now to this edge. So there's very little strain on this piece anymore. And it looks like I may have overbent here a little bit, so I'm going to relieve that slightly. And we'll have a nice fit. So I've got another strip here, and I'll do the same thing for the lower part. All right, a little more work on the second piece, and we got that done. Take a little bit of finessing to get it in. This piece did break as I was bending it, so we'll have to make a little cut and a join there, but that'll be okay. So you can see kind of the concept that I'm going for here. The leg is going to be hidden behind this little piece here. So it just kind of provides a little bend in front of the leg. A little decorative element. Okay, and we have our glue box, our panels still drying over here. So a couple little bits of progress. One other piece that I now have in place is here. This will be the back of the table. So it sits on the back of the table between the top and the bottom shelf. All right, I'm cutting our big block into thirds, actually, not halves. That way, if I screw up one, I have a spare. So bed rail technique. So bed rails up against the fence. That'll give me a nice cut here. I'll flip this over to do the second pass. So 2 passes through the saw to make a single cut. All right, we now have our 3 blocks here. 2 for use and 1 for spare, just in case I mess up real badly. And yeah, I think we're good to go. I can see a little bit of sap inclusion there. Okay, so next step will be tracing out the curve that we want here and then cutting that out on the bandsaw. So each of these pieces will represent 1/2 of the door. So let's just let that set there. And trace that around. That represents the outside cut, and the inside cut is going to give us a good 3/4 of an inch. Just for fun. I'm going to trace that around too. So we have a lot of meat to play with here on this door. So that kind of represents the cut that we're going to make. Let's try this one on the bandsaw and see how it works, and if we're successful, then we know the technique that we want to use on the other one. And if it doesn't, well, we have a practice piece. And I have plenty more of this wood where this came from. So we'll get over to the bandsaw and we'll set this up. So this cut is probably asking an awful lot out of this bandsaw, but let's give it a shot. We'll just go really slow on this one. Okay, that cut went remarkably well. I'm really pleased with the result of that. So the technique is going to work for sure. This is going to take a little bit of sanding, but we have a surface I think that is going to look really good with some beading on it. Now we need to make this second cut through here. So I'm going to do that. I'll do that off camera, just because it is a rather slow and tedious process. I had you on fast forward for that last clip because it's pretty slow. So I'll cut this off and then we'll have a piece that we can start to work with. All right, after cutting, we have a curve that we can work with. Look at that, nice and even all the way around. We got enough room that we can work with here to put beads in it. We are back on track. So next video we'll tackle the another one of these blocks. Like I say, I have a spare in case things go horribly wrong. So we'll cut the other block, then we'll do a little bit of finishing on it, and then try doing some beads on this piece. So thank you very much for watching and for sticking with me through this. So I'm happy to feel like I pulled this one out of the fire. I was a little worried about it. But we're back. We have a better technique now. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.